But seeing this fight as a whole, I mean, to me, this is, whew, this UFC 309 or 308? UFC 308 is nuts, dude. Like, this has to be one of the best fight cards and maybe possibly even UFC history. I mean, you got Holloway, the BMF versus Ilia Topuria. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. But because it is a 5-round fight and because he is moving up a division, and I'm just a big fan of Robert Whittaker, and I do believe because of the takedown defense also of Robert Whittaker, and because he's a real middleweight, I'm gonna have to go with the Reaper. And this, you know, I always tend to be honest with my predictions, but I just feel like the Robert Whittaker is just too big, man, and he's too skilled. Like, it's gonna take a lot more than wrestling to beat a guy like that, because he has that too. So that's my prediction.
It's a hard fight to predict as well. I would say, for what I watch, when Usman fought Chimaev, I think with proper camp, I don't know how many rounds, but Whittaker has some advantage against Chimaev.
You've got the undefeated Chimaev, who's fighting what we'll call home. You got home territory. You can call it that. And did some different training, returned literally home to the coach that he had up until he was the age 17. I can just tell you that matters. That matters. There's guys out there, right? They say behind every great man, there's a great woman. And that's a very beautiful thing to say. But for sure, behind every great man is a man. And some of the real greats don't talk about it. They don't show it. Every guy has a guy. And if Chimaev is returning to the coach that he had when he was 17, I'm just going to offer for you, you're going to see one of the best versions of Chimaev that you've seen before. But that's still Robert effing Whittaker. He will beat your ass. He will keep you on your feet, and he will begin to bludgeon you. I'm also not sold on Chimaev's size. I know some of you are, and you're saying that he's pulling pretty hard to get down to 185 and 170 is long behind him. I'm getting other information. And I do know that he considered a title fight all the way at 170. I know that was considered recently, but there was travel issues that ended up not happening. I'm just not sold on how big he is at 185. I know how big Whittaker is at 185. I supported the concept of Whittaker going up to 205. I actually got met with resistance by Robert Whittaker. I'm just sharing for you, this is a really different fight than you might think. And I think it is possible that one guy whips the other guy's ass, goes right through him. But I think that is much more likely to be Robert Whittaker than it is Chimaev, and that is where we're disagreeing. But that's still a fairly unlikely thing to happen. You're gonna have a long, drawn-out brawl here.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm just hoping that they make it to fight day, right? That's one of those fights I can't wait for it to come, and to know that it's a week away is huge. But for myself, I think I got Khamzat taking him down. I don't know, I have him by submission. We've seen Whittaker get taken down by Duplessis with like a headlock. And Khamzat's wrestling is so good. To see how dominant he has been with wrestling, I think he's going to go in there and do the same exact thing to Whittaker. But Whittaker really hasn't fought somebody that took him down and held him down except for Duplessis, and that was a more recent fight. So now he has a guy that's his full game plan. Is coming in there, shooting on you, taking you down. I think the last guy he's fought that was trying to like just wrestle him for the most part was Brunson. But I think that Khamzat has more submission threats when he takes him down and better cardio.
Rob Whittaker, I think I'm surprised he's an underdog. I really am. Again, Khamzat is a very good fighter. You know, I mean, you know that he can bring it, and he will bring it, especially early. He's going to bring it, and that's just, he's got one speed, and that's full on, and he's very dangerous. But I think Rob's going to be well prepared for that. And I think it goes to later rounds where I think Rob can take advantage of it. But I mean, it is going to be a tough first round 100%. And anyone that faces Khamzat knows that. So I guarantee you Rob is well prepared, and there won't be any surprises for him. So he's going to be well prepared. We've seen that against a guy like Romero, who's very dangerous, good wrestler. When you're well prepared, Rob Whittaker is very hard to stop.
I think that's a very tough fight for Khamzat. I mean, Robert Whittaker's got some of the best takedown defense in the 185 division. I mean, when you go 10 rounds with Yoel Romero and keep the fight standing, oh my gosh. I mean, that's a feat on its own. But I do believe that I think it's a tough fight for Khamzat. If the fight stays standing, I think Robert Whittaker's got it. Khamzat's going to have to keep him down and hold him down in order to win. Now, Khamzat is a very strong guy. I think he's capable of doing that, but I think he's going to spend a lot of energy trying to do so. You go back and watch the fight with Gilbert Burns. He had a very hard time taking down and holding Gilbert Burns down, and that was when Gilbert Burns kind of made Khamzat look mortal. You know, at that time, before that fight, he was like looking just unbelievable and unbeatable everywhere. But that was a fight that made him look mortal. I think Robert Whittaker, I think he's got a shot at beating Khamzat Rakhmonov. Khamzat Chimaev. Oh my gosh. The name sounds so familiar, Shavkat, Khamzat. I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's very, very, very crazy of his part, because, Khamzat is a very tough guy. Even when he was like 170, now 185, he's a very tough guy. I already training with him. I spent some time in Sweden with him, training with him for his training camp against an ATS. The fight that never happened, but I was there training with him every day. Was his main partner, my main sparring partner for this camp. And I think it's a very tough fight for Whittaker because Khamzat has a very great wrestler. And there's one thing about Khamzat that people don't realize too much. Like, they don't know what kind of level to expect from him. Like, they know by seeing, but when you feel it, I think it's a little bit different. This kind of level of wrestling, of grappling. I think he's one of the best. I think the best wrestler in the division. I think is Khamzat, and we saw how he dominated Kamaru Usman. That is a great wrestler that fought like Demian Maia and didn't got dominated the way that he was by Khamzat. So definitely a lot of courage of Whittaker, but I think if he did that, I think he has something in his mind to this fight. I think he thinks that Khamzat is gonna get tired or something like that. But let's see how good is the training partners of Whittaker. They're gonna mimic the Khamzat style. Like, I think all depends on that. The Whittaker is used to this level of grappling when it comes about his training camp, so he won't feel that much difference when the real fight starts. So I think this fight goes to Khamzat. I think Khamzat is gonna dominate him in the wrestling, the ground, but Whittaker was a champion, so we cannot doubt our champion, so definitely is a fun fight. I'm waiting to see this fight for sure.